I'm muted. I was muted that entire time. I was muted the entire time. Professional. I was just talking about how Scully was leaving and ignoring me. Now I'm not muted. Good. Hello, Jojo. Good morning, afternoon, evening. Happy time zone, friends. How we doing? Hello, Matt. Keldon's here. Hello, Keldon. Starting off great by muting myself. I attempted to pet the cat. How dare I? Even though he was begging me for pets the entire morning, trying to do anything, and he's just in my business. I tried to do a little bit of stretching this morning. He's like, oh, this is pet time. Trying to put away some clothes. He's like, I'm gonna lay right here. You should pet me. But he left. I did set... Keldon landed. Great job, Keldon. Great start to the day. Good job, good job. Excellent use of the victory sounds. Matt, you're nailing it. Matt is nailing it with that. Zeri's here. Hello, Zeri. Did I say hello to everybody? I think so. I hope so. I wonder what Scully's up to. Champion! Yes. Keldon's the champion. Keldon's the champion. This isn't a music stream. I won't make you suffer through that. But I got my coffee. I got my coffee in my Joe Plays Violin mug. That's Joe playing video games. I'm good at this. I almost just spilled coffee. Good job. Listen. I'm listening. See, remember, if you need Thad to read your message, do the following sound alert. Perfect. I immediately was like, what's chat saying? That's actually great. That works excellently. As long as the sound alerts work. If the sound alerts go down and you need me, I'm sorry. But hopefully they're functional. I still don't think they queue, but I'll just have to trust that you guys won't absolutely torture all of us with 8,000 sounds at once. And if you do, there's timers on them, so you can't. Not for long. I saw Matt was playing Gas Station Simulator. That sounds thrilling.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
All right, I'm awake. I'm awake. Thanks for the creeper sound, Matt. Oh, I forgot that bits do that. So if you use your bits for a sound at the same time that someone's dropping, that could really mess people up. I forgot that the bits always drop pine cones and stuff. Also, what's our thoughts on switching to the winter theme? Do we want... I think it's a snow pile. Should we do it on the first day of actual winter or start December with the snow pile? We're gonna switch to it. It's one of the free ones, so we'll use it. It's not winter. It's not like legally winter, okay? It's not winter. What is it, the 21st of December that's technically winter? Yes, it does happen after Halloween, just not immediately, Matt. Winter's 4 weeks away. So yeah, is it like the 21st? Am I mixing it up, or is that the summer? Does it line up exactly? First day, that's not how you spell that. First day of winter will be Saturday, December 21st. What do we vote? Do we vote for switching to the winter dropped theme with the snow pile on the 21st or on December 1st? Those are your options. Feel free to let me know your thoughts on that. My window just froze. Come on. I wanted to open another tab to look up the themes. Hello. Am I... It looks like stream's fine. I just can't use Chrome at all. Come on. One moment, please. We're having technical difficulties. Everything else is working. Oh, there we go. I can interact with things again. Stream. We've got the game thing. Let's see, what are the themes? So there's winter, which is a snow pile. And there's Christmas, which is a festive snow pile. And it looks like both of those are free. Maybe we switch to snow pile. Okay, let's November 31st, Zeri says. Very helpful. Very helpful. Thank you, Zeri. So that's December 1st. I'm a grumpy Grinch who can't stand Christmas hype lasting 20 weeks, but I'm fine with the general winter theme. Okay, fair. That's good input. Thank you. But the winter months are December, January, February, so that's fair. I don't like to let fall go. It's the best. It is. Oh, I love fall. Fall is definitely the best. Hello, Kitsuro. Welcome in. You have a Minecraft trivia for me. All right, let's hear it. Oh no, we have incoming ads. Just so y'all know. I just played ads. I just played ads at the start of stream. Why? Why, Twitch? I literally played them when the starting soon screen was up. It might be lying though. Is it true or false that you can repair shields with planks on an anvil? I've never done that. I've never heard of that being a thing. I'd be surprised if it was. I'm gonna go with false, but I will be pleasantly surprised if that is possible. We can science, right? Yes, we can try it. We could try to fix it on the anvil. In the Northern Hemisphere, anyway, discriminating against our Southern Hemisphere folk. It is true you can in fact repair shields with planks on an anvil. I learned something then. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's go into this world here. We'll go into my regular world. We were hanging out in the basement. I let the mob... I messed with the mob farm actually because I learned something about designs for mob farms on Bedrock. Oh crap, whose stream was I watching? It was someone on the Legend server. They were building a mob farm and they used scaffolding. So I tore out the mob farm on the box world and replaced it with a bunch of scaffolding. I'm getting distracted. I'm getting distracted. We were gonna do the shield. Oh, it's gonna be one of those days, guys. It's gonna be one of those days. That's not how you break a block. All right, 1 second. So it's all scaffolding. And apparently they can spawn on that block, but the water will push them because their head will be in the water block, which is here. And I guess the cat doesn't need to be there anymore since the water does all the work. It's not perfect, but it works better than it was working. Except I left it running overnight and it got all clogged up with witches, so I need to figure out how to fix that. Oh. Okay, shield. I want to try it. There's a million free iron at the golem farm. Yes, on the other world. This is my world. Well, mine, Kong, and Jules' world. Not the hardcore. Alright, I have a shield, but it's fully repaired right now. So, do I have a broken shield somewhere? Let's see if I have any partially used shields. No shields there. No. It's just like the drawers in the bedroom where it's just full of clothes that I never use. Anyone else live out of a laundry basket? Just me? Do I not have a shield? Okay, to test this, it's gonna... I must have a backup shield. Is this the backup gear? Both of those are fully repaired. I want to try it. We'll make a new shield. And then we'll go break it. A little bit. Where... There's wood, yeah. Oh, wait, no. Planks. Planks. Ignore my inventory. It's a mess. And it's very full of scaffolding now. Okay, so we got planks. Did I grab iron? Okay, there's a shield. Is it... It's raining? Is it dark enough for mobs out here? Where's my rockets? And this guy's doing the thing, I think, with the weird glitch. There's gotta be caves or something back here that we can go into. Somewhere? Is that a cave? Can I have mobs? We're testing this. The whole stream has been derailed now. There's nothing in there. That's not a cave. How about the other way? Hello? Mobs? Hello? What is a witch in Minecraft? It's a witch. It's they have a robe and they throw potions at you. They got a little hat. The area that the mobs in the farm get fed into got clogged up with witches because they didn't die. That's the problem. They didn't die. So they were just like standing in the spot. They didn't die. They just lined up in a row, and then there were too many mobs, so the world didn't produce more. So the big thing with running a farm manually, I mean, automatically like that, is that the mobs have to be killed by something. So they were spawning. There we go. Where are you? Oh, right there. Let's break the shield a little bit. We're just gonna stand here for a second. But yeah, they poison you. They often poison you. But they have other potions too. Ones that keep them alive. Ones that I think make you weak or slow. Alright, how we doing? It's damaged. Leave me alone. Back home we go. I don't usually leave that farm running overnight. I just wanted to see if it was more effective with the scaffolding in it instead of the spawn platforms that I'd made and waiting for them to wander into the water streams themselves. Minecraft calls it their magic. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Gotta remove it from my hand. There we go. We got a shield. We got planks. Wow, we learned something today. It makes sense. It's the material that it's made out of. Imagine if we could repair, like, our pickaxes and stuff with, like, a stick. I would assume it was the iron that you needed. I bet it works with iron, too, probably. Or combining them. I never, like, repair them with anything with materials. So thank you for the, for the fun fact there, Kasorio. Want to try it? We got iron. That doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. Why? Okay. Cool. Well, we learned things today. And I think we're on an ad break. I have 2 of them. Do I use both of them? Hold on. Do I use both of them? Perspective. There we go. No, you only use one of them. But I should be like doubly protected with that. The shield part is made out of wood, and it's also where it's getting hit the most. Yeah, and it would be more fragile than the iron too. It makes sense. All right, let's back to the right perspective. There we go. I'm really bad at switching perspectives. I really respect the Minecrafters who can like stream and make videos and just like switch to that perspective and be like, la 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 la, I'm talking to you. I never remember. It makes sense. It's obscure knowledge. Yeah, well, we learned. I won't forget. I won't forget it now. I'm gonna tell Kisser. I'm gonna quiz my partner when he gets home from work and be like, I learned something today about Minecraft. It can really help if you don't have mending. Yeah, yeah. I never, like I was saying, I never really repair things with materials, even before mending. It's just like not a feature that I remember exists. It's like if I don't have mending, it's probably not really enchanted yet anyway. I'm probably just gonna make a new one. Mending seems to be like a priority when getting a new world up and running. It's like, I don't want to be wasting my time repairing all my stuff constantly, or replacing it rather. So that aspect of Minecraft I don't really remember, especially on a world like this that I've had for a while. Alright, well, anyway, we're not even supposed to be playing on this world. This is supposed to be a Bedrock Legends stream. Let's switch over here. Ooh, someone's on. I wonder who. Shields are quite useful, so I think it's really useful to have it repaired as long as you can before you replace it with a new one. Yeah, I just always would. Oh, God. Sorry, who's that? I did the streamer mistake of saying something I don't like. So now, of course, that's a thing people do. Yeah, usually we just make a new one. I would just be like, oh, it's just one piece of iron and some wood, no big deal. But now I know I can just repair it next time, which is much better than being like, do I just want to make a new one now? It's a good bit of information to have. Hello. All right, so I didn't finish getting my fishing rod yesterday. So shall we start there while we think about what we're gonna do to finish with the waterfall area? So this is my pond that I've been working on. And I have a waterfall that I put in that comes down from the top of the mountain. None of this was here. This was just grass before. But I'm like, looking from my house into the valley, I wanted a water feature. So we started working on this pond, and all my fish are glitched because I chose blocks that they get stuck on. And you know what? It's fine. It's just constantly... These fish are just opening up the pit. That's what's happening here. They are disrespecting their surroundings. I'm in an interesting mood today, folks. It's gonna be a stream. But so yes, we have a fishing rod, but it doesn't have Luck of the Sea. And it's fine that it's Curse of Vanishing, because guess what? This is hardcore. This is hardcore, which if I die, I'm taking my fishing rod with me. So it's fine that it's Curse of Vanishing. But I want luck of the sea on it. So, and I'm determined to fish it up for some reason. I set very strange requirements for myself sometimes. Like, do I want to torture myself? Sure. Let's do this. Let's torture ourselves and try to fish up a fishing rod. Did you mix something with your coffee this morning? No, not with the coffee. Extra spoon of sugar. That must be it. It is actually a little sweeter than it should be. I also think I'm just a little tired. I stayed up watching movies last night and maybe didn't get enough sleep. Had a heck of a time getting myself to get out of bed. Then I did some chores. That's why we were a little late. What did we watch? We watched Cars and we watched Ocean's 11. Neither of which I'd seen before. Cars was cute. I understand why they made a whole franchise, but I also understand that the longer the franchise went on, the worse it got, which, you know, it's pretty hard to find a case where that's not what happened. I mean, find a franchise where that's not the case. Puggy loves Cars. I'd never seen it before. It was one of the few Pixar movies that I just never watched. There's a lot now. There's so many Pixar movies I haven't seen. Like, I don't think I've seen Frozen yet. Anything like post Toy Story 3, I guess I haven't seen too much. Wait, is Frozen Pixar? Frozen's just Disney. Right? I'm mixing things up. Frozen's not a Pixar. That's just a Disney princess movie. Still, I haven't seen that. There's so much crossover between Disney and like anything that's Pixar is Disney. So sometimes I can't figure out what is Disney but not Pixar. I missed movies because my internet. No, Zeri. Oh man, that sucks. That sucks. Is your internet provider going to refund you the 26 cents? It's like so frustrating that when the internet goes down, they only, if anything, will refund you for the percentage of the bill. And it's like, if it goes down for a day, a 30th of the bill is not going to seem like much of a refund. Especially like when you consider the inconvenience of it. Or like when Joe's internet goes down and she can't stream and that's her livelihood. Like $3 in comparison to the lost revenue. It's so frustrating. Can I have more? Can I have a fishing rod, please? I'm asking nicely. Frozen is not Pixar. Okay, yeah. Once I thought about it, I'm like, no, that's not a Pixar movie. The fish are just ridiculous to watch. I like the ones that like almost break free, but then get stuck. That's one of the reasons Justine moved back to the US. In Costa Rica, it was always her internet or power going out. Yeah, so like if you can't reliably do your job. Yep, I get that. Oh, too soon. Maybe we gotta fish in the other direction. We can look at those fish that are... Oh, wrong button. Zoom. They're... Nope, they're all spinning too. I'm really happy we have zoom now. That's nice. Oh, hi, Zeroed. How's it going? Friends fishing. Haha. Oh, I'm not fishing. Ah, how do I get back into the right perspective? That's why I never do that. Oh, and there we go. Imagine if he gets my fishing rod. If he fishes up a fishing rod, I'm gonna be so mad. This is the first outage you've had in a while. Well, that's something. It's just really frustrating when it does happen and it's not like attached to some like storm or something. Like when there's weather or like an accident or something that takes it out that way, it's a lot easier to cope with. Oh, the sounds. I'm like reacting to his bobbers. Kind of nice having a fishing buddy. Except he's getting so many more. They're all biting his leg. Give me fish. Oh, I got a bottle. Yay. I didn't fish anything else up, right? Nope. Not that button. Who's Matt? Who's this Matt you speak of? I guess it's kind of good that the fish are all glitched at the bottom because they don't accidentally get fished with the fishing rod. Because you can do that. You can hook entities and even items. So in a way, the fact that they're stuck is a benefit. What was that? What did I get? Was it just a stick? I gotta put stuff away. We've got fish. Fish. Shell. More bottles. We got saddles. We've got those. We've got bones. Where was I putting the bowls? Guess those can go in there. And boots. 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 Oh. This is kind of a vibe. He might be your neighbor. Imagine. I mean, who's Matt? I don't know who Matt is. Like, this is chill. Just hanging out, fishing, very low danger situation. Oh. What is all this? Fish. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's a stick. Yes, exactly, Keldon. Made his own little fishing spot. Is this it? Is this the rod? 2! Okay, we can combine these. We can combine these. I got the rod. Okay, alright, we can combine these and then I'll be happy. I gotta fly. I gotta fly. Just panicked for a second there. Got the rod. Got the rod. And then we might even fish up one that is also Luck of the Sea too. Okay. That one combined with that one, or this one combined with that. Oh, no, that way. And there goes my anvil. That's fine. We'll make a new one if we need to. Whee! Boop. In the night? I always think it's night. I'm like, it's getting dark. It's night. Sleep times. There we go. So how's everyone's weekend been? Did we do anything fun? Anything exciting? Eat any good food? Are you fishing my fish? My fish! My fish! This is where they hang out. They like it there. See, now I'm catching them. No, I don't want to catch them. Oh, it's time for the second dog washing, Keldon. You said this one's a little more difficult, huh? Hey, Ziv. Welcome in. We've got a raid. We've got a raid. Welcome in, Ziv. Thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? Shout out. There we go. There we go. It was good, I'm glad. Did you get up to anything specific? All right, let's see. We're gonna put... I'll put the sticks and the bowls in there. And random blocks in here. goes up there. More mining again. That's nice. I'm just fishing. I've been spending the past the entirety of yesterday's stream. Almost the entirety of yesterday's stream, and now more of today's stream. We're trying to fish up more flowing water. Yeah, more work to do then. And the mud blocks. Well, it's not a perfect pond, but oh no, my giant, no, get, oh, no, no, get in the water, this is a tragedy, my giant salmon, no, no, I don't have water. This is a tragedy. This is a tragedy. Please. Please. I think Zero's trying to murder my fish. What just happened to my fish? Was that you? Did you fish it? That wasn't? Oh, I thought it was from bumping them around. Sorry for accusing you. I thought you had fished it up. Oh gosh. So he just found his way over here then. I like it better when they just sit there and spin. I'm sorry for accusing you. I misread the situation. Did you put the snow layers there? Or did it snow in one spot? Your inventory was full. Okay. I'm just like, would it snow there when it was raining? Remember when the dude threw a bunch of poop in your pond? It wasn't poop, it was netherrack, which is worse. Thanks, Ziv. Thank you for the raid. Have a great rest of your day. Happy lurking. I gave a shout out, right? Did I do the shout out thing? Yes, I did. It's in the list. Okay. I didn't forget. At least you own up to it, Puggy. Puggy, it's a fishing party if you want to come hang out. Oh no, I almost hooked one of the fish. Maybe I almost killed the salmon. Also, what happened to my bucket of water? Didn't I have a bucket of water on me? Did I put them all in here? I did. Okay. Put that down. Let's take one bucket, and then maybe I can save the fish if that happens again. Be prepared, you know? What's going on with my inventory? Yeah, in the water. Thanks. Thanks. I'll keep these safe for you. think it's appropriate that we're just lazily fishing right now. I don't think I have the energy for anything else. It's probably going to be a short one today, folks. Just a little bit of calm fishing and a little bit of dying fish temporarily. Don't you dare fish. Don't you dare. My giant salmon has like a death wish apparently. I liked it better when you were stuck on the bottom of the pond. All right, it's fine if you just keep swimming back and forth like that. All right. Lily pads. I would like to get a little bit more. I want the another level 2 or level 3 of the Luck of the Sea effect so that I can combine it and then have the ultimate fishing rod. Oh. I haven't been eating. I'm glad the pond's... Hey, get back here. Are you gonna be the enchantment I need? No. That's not bad, though. Unbreaking 3 is a good book. Universal. Getting dark again. So do we think we should do some sea pickles and maybe a bit of glow lichen in certain spots to have the pond have a bit of a glow? We could add a little bit more to it, I think. Oh my gosh, I just am downing that cup of coffee. Sleepy times. A little sad there's no cats in here. I moved the cat cam so that I can... Night fishing is dangerous. Sounds dangerous. Oh no. Hello, cow. Cow, do you want a fishing rod? But if the pond had a bit of glow to it, night fishing would be safer. Okay, I'm gonna put the books in here. Ooh, looting 3. I didn't even know I picked that up. That there. That. Pufferfish. Alright, let me put my tools back on my hotbar a little bit here. Keep the bucket. Oh my god, there's so many fish. If anybody needs fish, Got plenty of them. Bottles of water. Oh my god, there's so much snow. Wonder where that came from. Keeping those. I'm gonna probably put some of that around the outside of the pond. This can go there. And lily pads. Oh my god. I'm about to give you a shulker box to put all your junk in. Know what? This is Zero's box. I think that's all stuff. No! Poor little fishy. The giant salmon's not gonna last. Are you? You're gonna keep trying to, like, beach yourself? I didn't even know I got, like, the gigantic one, but he's such a big salmon. He's actually kind of comical in this pond. Ooh, a book. Okay. Okay, Boots. Go off. The church is looking for a mascot. If you can keep him alive, feel free to take the big salmon. Where'd he go? Oh, he's right there. Here, you can probably give him a better life than I can in this pond. It's floating behind you. Right here, let me. This is for you. Give him a good life. I'm worried for his safety here. That's not true. That's not true, Keldon. There was one incident where I was nearby while someone died, okay? One time. And, oh, dang it. I keep fishing the fish. One time. And it wasn't me. It was a creeper. Nobody expected the creeper. Can you believe that was 24 days ago? This month has flown by. And I've spent 2 days of it just fishing. Oh, is this gonna be the rod? Yes! Okay, alright. So, Luck of the Sea, Unbreaking 3, Lure, and... well, it doesn't have Mending. But I can combine these two. I should have waited for that book to come in. I mean, for that one to come in before I combined the other one. Oh, there's my rockets right on the hotbar. I gotta go make another anvil. Go in the house. There was zero pushing involved. Zero pushing. Wait, what? Something happen? Or are we... did something... oh, that's not blocks. Hello, do I have more iron? 1, 2, 3. Where's... oh. Where's my anvil, guys? I need to make it. I need to make the anvil. Oh, my brain. Brain is fried today, folks. Brain be fried. Not saying you're actively doing it. It's more like a Final Destination effect. Do not put that on me, Keldon. How expensive is this? Oh, it's not expensive at all. There we go. My fishing rod that I will take to the grave. Yay, we can do things now. We can do things. We can work on the terraforming and stuff. And make the area more attractive to other people who may want to fish. Yay. Oh, there. Alright, let's put away stuff. Put away stuff we don't need. Like random netherrack blocks. Don't know where those came from. This book is good though. We might use that for something. Maybe. Okay, put that there. That there. That there. All my windows are not where they're supposed to be right now. Okay, there's chat. Hello, chat. I could put this. Should we make? We should probably make. There's my other shulker shells. We could make 5 whole other shulkers. That's actually. I didn't realize I had that many. Alright, so. We got our fishing rod. And now we shall do other things. I'm probably not going to use the shears. Pick this back up. And I don't even know what's in this box anymore. Surely there's some blocks. Random stuff we picked up when we were out and about. Oh, the coral. Alright, we don't need that box. I'm just gonna... I just cleared out my inventory. I literally just cleaned this out. Can you believe this? What am I, a human trash can? Okay, fish. Fish go in here. Fish go in there. Okay. Boots. A saddle. That can go up there. Where'd the carrot come from? I guess we'll keep the iron. Guess we can use the iron. Good fishing in the rain, you're right. Good fishing in the rain. But it's also dark. Good dying in the dark. Fish at your own risk. Close the door, my god. Night fish at your own risk. Your power keeps blinking. It's a bit windy, but nothing that sound come close to making the power go out. Oh, are you gonna... Oh, because you're trying to stream, huh? You said yesterday that you stream around this time, right? That's frustrating. I hope that things calm down and your power stabilizes. Alright, I'm gonna leave this shulker here. Because I don't know what I'm doing with all that stuff. Okay. Oh, there's a donkey. I want a donkey. Do you want to be my friend? I don't have a lead on me? We're gonna be friends. Oh, instantly! We're instantly friends. Look at that. Hold on. I have a saddle. I have a saddle for this occasion. That's so fun. Are you the donkey I just tamed? Did you make it all the way over here? No, you're not the same donkey. Where'd my donkey go? I tamed it, so it shouldn't just disappear, right? There it is. It's walking up the hill. I was like, how did you get over here this quickly? That donkey is its own donkey. It's a free donkey. Unlike you, you're my friend now. That's my other friend that we don't use anymore now that we have wings. Sorry about that. It happens. We should probably make them like a little horse stable thing. It's pretty quick. Can we go on the house donkey? Nope, I'm gonna suffocate if I do that. Never mind, that was silly. Excuse me, I'm just gonna go grab a lead real quick. Do I have them in the ender chest? We do. We have one. I really should maybe get more. Donkey. I feel like I said that like Shrek. I was getting ready to, but I don't dare now and have my mods waiting on me and such. Gotcha. Gotcha. That sucks when the weather ruins things. Alright, maybe you can come hang out over here with the chickens. This is a good spot, right? You're gonna totally fall off this block, aren't you? And take damage. Are you gonna take damage if you do that? Because I've decided this is not a good spot for you. Please don't take damage. Are you about to? Okay, you didn't. Still, let's put you on this level. There you go, bud. There you go. If you live in an area of old-growth pine trees, the wind can make the power go out. Ask me how I know. How do you know? How do you know, Kelton? I feel like every time I turn around, Grumpy's lost his allay. Okay. It is time. It is time to work on this mountain. This waterfall that comes down the mountain, rather. So we started. We did some of this. This has to be messed with a bit. Ooh. I'm thinking. So all this, we're gonna have to turn into some stones. I think I want to do lighter stones up here as we're getting toward the snow. So I'm gonna go collect a whole bunch of diorite. that's what we're gonna go do. We're gonna collect a bunch of diorite. There's pockets of it in the mine, so it shouldn't be that difficult. Because it happens here. Not long ago, one of them trees fell in the neighbor's front yard, took out their fence, and the lines were laying in my front yard. Oh dear. That's an awful lot of cobble deep slate. That sucks. Is this where the diorite was? Hi. Thanks. Surely that's enough. No, I'll take the andesite too. That's good. I'm glad when I'm always happy to find when the rocks overlap like this. It's like if I'm gonna collect these various rocks. Baby zombie, look out. Oh, good. It's like, we're not gonna see a death message, are we? No, don't do that. Don't do, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine, Matt. Are you having fun, Matt? Are you having fun? This is a lot. Oh my god. Ooh, lapis. Alright, this is probably enough. Wait. Oh, I dug into a cave. What? Okay. I didn't even realize I did that. That's a little dangerous. Did I light it all up? Okay, there's the stairs. I'm like, where's my mine? Didn't realize I was digging into a cave. That's totally fine and nothing to worry about. Certainly not something we should cover up, right? Is that all safe now? Okay. All right. Let's start doing things. Oh, okay. I'll take a look at that later, Keldon. The It gives the streamers monies, and they tell you not to. You can't win. My contribution. That would be cute. Oh, it's so nice when other people are on and they can sleep. Shout out to that person. Okay, I really like this. Grumpy. Shout out to Grumpy. All right, let's get rid of these little snow layers that appeared out of nowhere. Ruined my pond. The aesthetics. No. Okay, go over here. Griefing. We're putting... Gotta wonder what's going on over there. Okay. I think I need another shulker. Because I have too many blocks and I can't organize myself. All right. Shulker shells. 8 pieces of wood equals chest, which equals shulker. There we go. Why do I have this carrot and this tripwire hook? I'm just picking up stuff everywhere we go. That go in there with the other trash. Iron can go in there. Whee! Okay. Let's put this here. I'll put some of the blocks in there. And I think I'm gonna move the shulkers and stuff up here so it's more accessible. Boop, 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 boop. Little ice skating rink. Whee! Whee! It has a... Whee. Oh no, nope, that's bad. Don't go in other perspectives. Alright, let's put all the stuff a little bit to the side. A little bit. Okay, and we're going to make some slabs and stairs. That was a little noisy. I apologize. Slabs and not polished stairs, regular stairs. That should be good to start, perhaps. Poor Zeroed. And his poor ears. Oh, dang it. That's how snow layers work. Gravity. Nope. Don't like that. Don't like that. There's a cave or something nearby. Not me checking chat. I'm like, was that a sound that somebody else played? Or was that a real baby zombie? Hearing a lot of not great sounds, actually. A little concerned. A little bit concerned about it. Just a little. Just a little. Surely it's fine. Nope. That was a mess up. That messed things up. Stairs, I guess. Might help. We're gonna block this off. Block this off. Block the flow. Climb, climb, climb. Alright, we're gonna do like that for now. Okay. Hearing witch sounds. Oh, we should get some ice and mix ice into this. Like it's freezing in certain parts up there. Also, I want the andesite. Add more of that there. Let's grab the andesite. Oh, that would be great, Zeroed. I'll go. I can grab that. I think just a few pieces in a few spots, just like the water's hitting something and freezing. I don't know. Trying to make nature make sense. Make it natural. Alright, I want to put a little bit of the andesite in here. Dang it. Andesite. Oh, we're on an ad break, folks. I'll log out for a second and we'll be right back. Let me just go stick myself in a building. Alright, be right back. Are you enjoying the wrong screen that I put on instead of the BRB screen? We're back, and we have a kitty cat. Look at that. Look at that kitty cat. Yes, I bribed him. I bribed him with the with the catnip again. But he's so cute. Look at him. Look at him. Look at this boy. So handsome. So handsome. If only you could hear how cute his little purrs are. Also, that gave the full shot of me literally climbing into my chair. So this is a standing desk, a sitting or standing desk, but I leave it in this position because the chair reaches, and when I want to stand at it, I just push the chair out of the way. But to get into the chair, I have to use the couch as like a step stool. Short people problems. Short people problems. All right, where we go? Here we go. That's the screen. And we're back, baby. Let's go. Is everybody hydrating? Are we all hydrating? Everybody should take a big sip of water. Make sure you've taken any medications you need to take. Eat any food. Taking care of yourselves? I hope you are. Also, I missed something here. Oh, hey, Val. How are you doing? Val dropped. I want to drop. I haven't dropped much today. I don't think the start of the screen. Let's drop egg. Egg, a classic. The classic egg emote. I wonder if Scully's going to stay in that cat bed. Come on, get in the leaf. Aw. Dang it. Dang it. I thought I had it. Very well, thank you. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Alright, let's get back over here. Up the waterfall. Hello, all my little fishies. I hope that big salmon has a nice life over in the Church of Big Salmon. Where's my... Oh, I gave my bucket away. I need a bucket. I was gonna waterlog those blocks. I should have just flown. Whee! Alright, let's try to get in the door. Ready? And... Oh, too short. Thought we had it. We did not. But I got a whole bunch of buckets in here. So let's take... Oh, we're going to put a couple of them in here, just empty. And we'll have one on us for utilization. I like doing this. I love flying down the stairs. And through. Whee! It's so fun. It's the little things in life. Like flying around with an elytra. These fish are just vibing. This is gonna be the next BRB scene. Just the fish. Swimming in circles. I'm not gonna die. And if I die to flying in the overworld, you know what? I deserve it. That one needs to be waterlogged. Oh, I shouldn't have taken the water from there. Oops. That one needs to be... Alright, let's get those other buckets out. Boop, boop. That one. That one. Oh god, all of these. None of this is waterlogged. We've got more water to take from up here, though. That one, that one, that one. Oh, gosh, that sheep came out of nowhere. Honestly startled me. Okay, I think all that's good. And are we good on this side? Alright, not seeing any of those little water glitches anymore. I think we're good. Alright. Now. I feel like this should be stony. Maybe more andesite. Maybe, yeah, maybe andesite at this point. Let's get... Do I have any of this already in slab and stair form? Couple slabs there. Okay. See, andesite at this level for the most part with some other blocks mixed in and then into the diorite. Yeah, that's how we're doing it, I think. I like these couple little flowers that kind of sit there. I think if I waterlog that, no, let's put it down one. Let's put... like that. Nope. Was trying to put a slab there. Thank you. There's an Enderman around. Which I could totally oh god, there he is. I was like, I could totally handle if he stays away from me. Alright, actually, I want to bring all of this back to here. That can be stairs. Into a slab there. Nope, one slab, not two. It's dark, isn't it? It's getting dark. We should really sleep. Whee! Comcast outage in my area, so cellular is hella congested, and I can't watch with interruptions, but hello. I love you, stay alive, etc. Thank you, Jules. I hope your internet comes back soon. That's frustrating. It sounds like a lot of people have been having some internet troubles lately. What is happening, folks? What's going on in the world? But I hope you're doing well, my love, and thank you for popping in. Let's do like that. Into... I guess we should do a little bit of mossy there to mix it back in with the other blocks we have going on. There's the mossy cobble. Do I have any slabs or stairs of it? Not seeing any. Let's make some. Which actually, we should probably make more mossy in general. Like that. Pop that in there. Couple little slabby slabs. Alright, come down here. I want that to be a slab. And this to be a stair lower down, I think. Nope, not like that. Like that. And then maybe that should be full mossy. A full moss block. Ah, whoops, that was slabs. Trying to put full blocks. Did not do it. So slab there. Full block there. And I'm going to make this also mossy. And maybe that could be a andesite stair. Into an andesite stair. So many stairs. Alright, if we block this off, let's see how it looks when the water resets. Oh, dang it. Wrong spot. Block it off there. Okay, now we can break those blocks. Let's see how this... I feel like that should not be a full block. There. Let's do a slab. Oh, zero's off. So maybe we do like that instead. What happened here? Oh, I blocked it off. That's not how it normally looks. All right, let's see. How does that flow? Does it have some points where it breaks off? No, it's completely flat because everything is the same. Partial blocks over here. So let's block that off again. Nope, not like that. Not like, no, not like that. Like this. So, I like that. This, let's bring down so it's the mossy. This, I'm gonna do... Alright, that should have a lot more texture to it. Or at least a little bit. Can we do something about this? At the bottom, maybe we'll make that go back a little bit further. Like that. And actually, I'm gonna make this stair go the other way. Alright, let's see how this will look once we get rid of this mossy here. Two. It's fine. We'll have to waterlog all these. Water buckets. Water buckets. And we'll mess with the blocks around the outside too. So actually, before we waterlog it, let's get at least the blocks in along the very edges. So I'm gonna block this off again. Like that. So I want this part to be andesite into some mossy cobble. So, and regular cobble and maybe some tuff mixed in. So up here, let's bring out the andesite blocks. All right, I think we're gonna do like that. And a slab. do a stair here. And maybe a stair here. Where's my shovel? And I think a little bit of regular stone mixed in would be good too. Zero's back. So slab probably here. And maybe make that regular stone down there. Nope. Oh, cave sounds. Here are cave sounds. I'm getting lost in it. Am I out of andesite stairs? Looks like it. Going a little heavy on the andesite stairs. But that's probably fine. Alright. And this one. Just gonna make a slab at the bottom. This should be a stair. Maybe going like that. Nope, not like that. Maybe we'll just do a slab there. See how it works. Alright, in here. This recipe makes me nervous. The pork has been slow roasting for a couple hours. Now it tells me to crank the temp to 485. Why? You wouldn't like be trying to... Are you trying to brown it? You don't really do that with pork, right? Oh, we can mix a little gravel in, sure. But maybe down there. Where's the regular stone? Oh, it's very dark. What am I doing? Woo! I'm taking a sip of my coffee. To crisp up the crackling on top. Oh. But 485, I'm guessing that's Fahrenheit. This coffee's like particularly good today. And it's the same coffee I drink every day. It's literally in jugs in the fridge. Thank you. Thank you for converting it to freedom units. I was like, there's no way it's 485 Celsius. I don't think an oven would get to that temperature. Not a standard home oven anyway. Hmm. Okay, so this is gonna need to be waterlogged. Right there. And like that. That one's already waterlogged. We got a follow, it sounds like. Let's see who that was. Welcome in, Cracked Kitten. Thank you for the follow. I hope you're doing well today. We're just working on making my waterfall look more natural and intentional. So we're doing a bit of work here. How is your day going? Fill that block in. There we go. Oh, I see one more. Right, here needs to be... Wait, no? Am I imagining that? I see a block there that needs it. There we go. Okay. Alright, I think I got all the things waterlogged now. And how do I want to do the mountain here? I kind of want to use some cobble in this part. Like, it's kind of deteriorating down the side of the mountain a little bit. Like, maybe it didn't always form into a pond there. You're a fan of Minecraft? Took a very long break. Figured watch Minecraft, you have nothing else to do. Well, welcome in. We try to keep things pretty chill here. This is a hardcore server that's running for the month of November. So there's some risk, but we tend to keep things pretty safe. I'm a little bit of a coward when it comes to playing Minecraft. And this is the first hardcore server I've been a part of. So we haven't taken very many risks. I've mostly been doing landscaping. That's my house up there on the hill. And we brought a path down here. This pond wasn't here at all. It was just the green grass. And I'm like, I want a water feature, so we put in a pond. And I'm like, well, the pond needs to come from somewhere, so we're making a waterfall come down from the tops of the icy mountain. And yeah, other people are out fighting the wither and exploring scary places. So hardcore has only been recently added to Bedrock, which is the version you'd be playing on the Switch. So update that, because you should have access to hardcore now when you make a new world. It's like an option that you can turn on or off. Is it already getting dark? No, it's just noon. All right, let's put some cobble into here for a little bit more texture. And I think I'm gonna build up this part of the mountain a little bit so that it's like kind of in line with the rest of the stone a bit. Don't want to go too crazy with it. Just a little bit. Maybe that could be cobble. That could be... I don't want this to be a full block, actually. I don't think it needs to be if I do like a stair there. Nope. It turns into another stair because of that. Oh no! Oh no! Okay, so we should avoid that. Didn't know because you haven't played for a few years. Yeah, yeah. So you got some new features on there. That just came out in, I think that, yeah, it came out in October because we started this whole Bedrock Legends thing to start playing with the new hardcore. My inventory's too full. I can't put stuff in my... I can't pick up the stuff to put it back. Oh, my sugar cane. And a torch. Alright, sugar cane. There we go. This didn't mess with anything else, right? I just gotta put a few reeds back. I think that's all that was there. I'll probably bone meal the area a little bit, but I'm sure I will mess up more of that, so we won't bother doing it right now. There's probably a torch around here. And here. Okay. One of the things I want to accomplish before the end of the month is to... Did that mess up all my... Actually, you know what? I kind of love it. Fine. That's fine. It was an accident, but I'll take it. Very used to Fortnite. Yeah, I've never personally played Fortnite, but I imagine it's quite different from Minecraft. Okay, I don't want this stair to form like that, so I think that little happy accident, yeah. I love it. I love it. Oh, do I not have any more andesite stairs? What just happened there? I placed the block, it disappeared. I didn't mean to place the block, so that's totally fine that it's not still there. Alright, so I'm gonna change this a little bit. I'll put stair like that. And then this stair will go... Oh, there's my andesite stairs. They were on my hotbar the whole time. And then that one I don't want to be a stair. I'll make that a slab. Do I not have any more andesite slabs either? There they are. They blend into the inventory. Alright, so like that. And then maybe this one will be a stair. I want a little bit of regular stone mixed in over here, I think. Sheeps, you just keep startling me, sheep. I think it's trying to. Like, watch. They're in their own world, building. Let me just, you know, drop down from the sky on them. No big deal. Rude sheep. A lot has changed in Minecraft over the years, so honestly, you should just jump into it. And if you come across something that you don't understand, try Googling it. There's just too much to cover. There's too much to cover. Like, from ancient cities and the trial chambers. The world height's changed. All right, I like this now. Let's add some mossy. Let's get a view of this actually. How is this? There's a lot more that needs to be done to it, but is this looking terrible? No, I'm glad that there's more stone in it. I definitely want to do more throughout here. And make all this, like the whole thing should be rocky kind of. All this should be some more cobble and mossy cobble. Maybe. Do I have the tough over here? None of that's tough. None of that's tough. There's some tough. Okay. I want to mix a little bit of this in. Put away some of the dirt. Oh, more mossy cobble. I don't have any infested cobble. This is just regular old stone and stuff. Alright, all this needs to be turned into some more appropriate blocks. What do I got? Do I have just regular stone? Maybe that could be... Ooh, a little bit of tough. You're not even going to see that. But the tough goes so good. This you might see a little bit of. If I do... Let's do tough right through here. Oop, not what I wanted. How many times am I going to accidentally place that block? Boop. Okay, I want some. I want some more tough. Do I have any more? Is that all I had? We might have to go dig. Yeah, okay. Let's put that in here, that in here, that in here. Extra diorite. Put all these things together. Okay, let's go find more tough in the mines. You stopped at the Giant Caves update and the Mothy? Yeah, well, since then, I guess it's been... The Trial Chambers has been the big thing. And all the copper blocks. Yes, the bundles. The bundles are a thing. Is that what you're talking about? I love the bundles. Yeah, the ancient city, which was part of the caves. But yes, bundles are a thing, and they're my favorite. I have a, this isn't the world I have the bag of bags on. I'm mixing up my other world with this one. But I have a bundle full of bundles that I call the bag of bags. Yeah. Was part 2 of the Caves and Cliffs. Oh, you're right, Grumpy. So yeah, if you only caught the beginning of Caves and Cliffs, you wouldn't have had the ancient cities with the warden and everything. Have I passed by Tough? I probably passed by some. That's okay. Oh yeah, the trail ruins. It's so hard to remember. There's just so much stuff. Yeah, the trail ruins are pretty cool with all the pottery, and there's armor trims now. Ancient Cities was wild update, not 2 of Caves and Cliffs. Really? Who can keep track? Who can keep track? You had the warden. Okay, so you stopped playing after the warden. Here's some Tough. Oh, this is jazzy. And then it stops. You had trims? Yeah, so I guess you didn't stop playing that long ago then. It's part 3 of the wild. How many? Yeah, well, that's in the game now. Yeah, there's a lot of new things and the hardcore mode. Bundles alone are enough reason to come back to Minecraft. I am obsessed with bundles. I am still strongly considering making a bundle emote. Even though that's not one of the things anyone's asked for in emote form. Am I using Silk Touch? Efficiency 3. Efficiency 4. Alright, let's use that one. That one will be faster. Do it. What is that emote? Is that? Oh my god, it's an armadillo! I love it. I love that. Look at Zero's armadillo emote. How cute. Oh yeah, there's armadillos now. Armadillos drop little scoots that you can make wolf armor out of. And there's a whole bunch of different wolves now. I think there's 9 different kinds of like how cats have the different versions of themselves. There's 9 different wolves that spawn in different biomes, like they're biome specific. So that's another new thing. Got these from Dab and Kitten stream. Those are adorable. Oh my goodness. I love it. Very cute. Do I have any more coal? And any sticks? Sticks. Okay. There we go. But yeah, the way they've done bundles. Oh, diamonds! The way they've done bundles is perfect, I think, because you can scroll through it with the scroll wheel, or I'm not sure what the controls are on Switch or whatever, but there's a way to scroll through them and then pick what item you want to take out. And it's so nice. Oh, shiny. I'll grab those in a second. Always find diamonds when you're not looking for them, huh? Ain't that the way it goes? I don't know how much of this I need, but we're gonna grab a good amount so that we don't have to come back. And who knows, maybe someone else will need some tough. I could be like, look, here you go, tough. Tough luck. Flemwad, your oldest made that one? Your oldest, like, Child? Is that what you mean? Or oldest mod? Oldest... What do you mean? Oldest child, okay. I was like, I'm assuming that's what we're going for here. That's what people say. My oldest, my youngest. That makes sense. At first I read it as my oldest mod. But you said maid. My oldest maid. But that's really cool. Very, very nice animation on that. Very impressive. I can only do very basic animation things. Like the simplest of things. But I like making emotes. I've made my emotes. Some of them are just like pictures of my pets, but the drawn ones are ones I've made. And I've made some emotes for some of the people I moderate for. What's funny is I'm diamond ranked. When I can find diamonds, that's what does enchantment mending do? So as you collect the little experience baubles, they repair your equipment, whatever, or your, so everything has mending on it. So that all gets repaired when I'm like killing mobs and get experience or whatever. So you don't have to repair stuff manually, really. Oh, my inventory is full apparently. Let's put this in here. Can I collect all this? Boop, 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 boop. Boop. I should really make a few more bundles. Oh, dang it. I want to just swap that. Okay, grab that out. I want these diamonds. Put those in there. There we go. Silk touch. There it is. 1 diamond, 2 diamond. Any more? Just the 2? That's fine. That's fine. Oh, I don't want that. Sorry, block. You're just gonna stay there. This should be more than enough. They're messing up your lawn. Are they stealing your front lawn, Grumpy? It is a little better than a creeper, because the creepers don't leave the blocks behind. At least it's just 1 block at a time. Yeah, I need more bundles. I had more on me, but then I stuck a bunch of junk in them and then never put away my stuff. My organization on this world has been atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. And I think it's because it's short term that I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? Organize all my stuff when we have less than a week left on the server? That'd be silly, right? Right? I am determined to get rid of all these torches, though. That's one thing that I will be cleaning up before this ends. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, why am I going to the house? I should have been going back to all my stuff over there. Let's see if there's anything we can put away. Hello, kitties. Hello, pupper. See, here's all my bundles full of junk. Well, we could totally make a few more. Look at, we've got leather and we've got string. 1, 2, 3 string. Put those in there. There we go. We'll make more bundles in a second. Why is it ending? Because this server is only up for the month of November. It's a 30-day thing. Here, I'll put the little command in chat. This is Bedrock Legends. So it's a hardcore server. It started November 1st with 30 different Minecraft creators, including myself. And since it's hardcore, you got only the 1 life. We've lost 13 people since the beginning of the month. Most of them in the first couple of days. Luckily, the deaths have really teetered off as we got geared up and everything. But it's only running for November, so last day of the month is the last day of the server. And the goal is to survive it. Oh my guess we'll put the diamonds up there. So yeah. That's why it's ending. Bring the diamonds, then use the fortune enchant. Yeah, I got the fortune one. I don't really need the diamonds right now. I like to hold on to ores until I need them. We have some diamonds already broken up, but I don't really need them for anything. So a lot of the times I just stack up the ores and break them when I need whatever block that is. Okay. Let's make these two into bundles. Just gonna swap these for a second. Bundle. Put that in there. Bundle. Put that in there. Bundle. Bundle full of bundles. Perfect. Now I can take all the other stuff out. We'll get organized here. Anything else I can put away? I guess I could put the fishing rod in the ender chest for now. There we go. Anything else? I've got an empty bucket in there. We've got 2 full ones. Let's bring all these blocks back over to the mountain. All right, let's do... So we got that. Torches can go over there. I'm gonna make some tough... I'm gonna waste some rockets first. Then we're gonna make some tough slabs and stairs. Slabs, stairs. And that'll probably be more than I need right now, so we'll put the rest of that stack in there. Then, do I have more andesite? Not seeing any. Let's make these into slabs. And get rid of this one block I accidentally placed earlier. How do you craft bundles? So bundles are just 1 piece of leather and 1 piece of string. And I don't know the exact orientation. I usually use the recipe book. So pretty cheap. 1 leather, 1 string. That's not bad for like early game organization. And honestly, it serves a different purpose than like shulker boxes, because you gotta place down shulker boxes, and yeah, you got more space in them, but you can use the bundles in conjunction with the shulker boxes, which is really neat. Joe's here. Yes, there's different colors. You can dye them. It's amazing. It's like shulker boxes, and now you can dye them. But rar, Joe plays violin is here. Womp womp womp. I don't know why I keep doing mouth air horn. I've done that several times lately. Hi Joe, how are you? How has your weekend been treating ya? Alright, I'm gonna do a block of tough here. We gotta bring this up a little bit too, I guess. Oh god, so much stone. So many blocks. I'll put that there. And a slab. And a slab. And let's build this up a bit. This can be a regular tough block. Oh, I wanted a lot of this to be mossy. We should be mixing the mossy blocks in. So maybe we'll build up with tough from here and start filling in mossy in the little crevices of it. Ugh. Go away, Enderman. Nobody invited you. Oh, actually, let's do like that. think we should do some mossy over there. I'm totally gonna fill in a bunch of moss over here, which we got a bunch of it with us. So many kitty cats. Cleaning up the stream room. It's gotta be done, right? Gotta be done. Okay, we're gonna layer up moss here quite a bit, I think. Okay, more down here. Kind of like it's extra lush around where the mountain is, you know? That makes sense, right? Where the water's coming down the mountain would be extra green and lush. And we'll come back in and put a bunch of, like, plants and stuff in. And bed. We're not dead yet, Pencils. How are you doing? And Mario's here. Hello. Hello, hello. But yeah, not dead yet, Pencils. I feel like you're wishing it on me now. No, I'm just kidding. We're working on the waterfall. So I put in this pond. This was just grass before. We put in a pond, and the pond needed a water source feeding it, right? So from the top of the mountain, we put... Oh, I cut off the water while I'm terraforming it. But there's a waterfall that comes from the top of the mountain, out of the icy parts, and down into the pond. And that's why we're still alive, because we do things like this. Had a nightmare trip back to New York. Oh, no. I'm glad it's over now. Just the difficult travel conditions, or were people related? Alright, I'll mix. Yeah, feel free to share if you want to. Someone canceled your flight the day before without you authorizing it? Like someone like you don't know somehow did that? Oh, sorry, Crack Kitten. This is an invite only server. No idea. Someone probably like was maybe trying to cancel their own ticket and got yours instead. Flower. All right, this is working. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of, I think maybe regular. Oh, andesite. We'll mix some andesite in here. Oh, we're on an ad break, folks. I'm not taking a break this time, but, you know, just more of this that's happening. Actually, I hate this. Maybe we should do more mossy. Or just keep it regular. Oops, I did it again. Alright, that's fine. Where was this other one? Here? Here? Guess it was here. Had to talk to like 6 different agents before it got fixed. The worst part was talking to people on the phone. Ugh, the worst. I was talking yesterday about how I had to spend an hour on the phone with our cell phone provider because we switched cell phone providers and we weren't getting any of our calls when we brought our numbers over. Text and phone calls weren't coming through. Spent an hour on the phone with them. It was terrible. But exactly, sorry. But at least I wasn't stranded somewhere. That's way worse. I'm so sorry you went through that. Talking in phone. Yes, horrible. Indeed. Indeed. Alright, we're gonna mix a little bit of this in over here. I don't like the andesite. That looks terrible. Let's just make this all like this. Oh no. No, not again. Stop it. Stop doing that. No. Stop it. Leave my stuff alone. The water did not listen. The water just kept going. Somehow, I wasn't able to block the flow of the water with my body. Alright, we'll stop breaking those blocks now. Grumpy's putting the finishing touches on his tree. Ooh. Alright, we gotta be real quick with this block, okay? Ready? 1, 2. Ha! Ha-ha! I win! Eh. The water did not take over. I blocked it. You don't have a Microsoft account for some reason? You must have one. Maybe you can do like an account recovery or something. Because I think if you had it before, you had to have a Microsoft account attached to it. Unless you were playing the physical copy of it. I'm excited to see Grumpy's tree when it's done. It's been working on that for a while. Maybe a little bit of regular cobble mixed in instead of all this mossy. Turn it back into regular here. And that should probably be like a stair instead of that harsh angle. Need more stairs. Oh, not like that. Not like that. Thank you. Like that. Okay. And I'll do regular cobble there. Okay. And a little more cobble in here. Nope, throwing stuff. It's fine, no big deal.
I'm a little
Oh
bit.
God.
I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit of la 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 la.
A little bit of Alexis. Hello, Jules. Hello. Is your internet fixed? Your internet has returned. Yay! Welcome back. And Hoagie's here. Hi, Hoagie. Hello, hello. Cracked, you'll be fine. Just use your Minecraft knowledge and you will be all right. I believe in you. I believe in you. You've got this. Stay calm. Use your instincts. Oh, there's so much excitement in the chat. I love it. I love it. All right, I think... Oh, that's a slab. I can't put a stair there. I could put a stair like here. Yeah. Like that. How's this look? Does that look...
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Cliff-like? Howdy, howdy, howdy. All right, and I want to transition back to regular stone a little bit here too. There's like a lot of unnecessary textures going on here.
Don't have a crab attack.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best not to have a crap attack. Some stone stairs.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Are you guys having fun? I hope you're having fun.
Ew, no, David.
Ew, no, you're not having fun? Ew, no, David. It is all fun. Good, good, good. Alright, we're gonna go back to some regular stone a little bit over here. This is too much cobble. This should be some regular stone. Maybe we'll do like regular stone in here. All that. Like that. And then this. All right, I want to get an idea of how this is looking from further away. And we can zoom. All right, I got to put some dirt there, but it's looking more mountainy. With the water coming down, that'll be the main part. That'll all stay dirt. It's just going to be where the water is flowing down, like it's washed stuff away, you know? Nap time. Don't die without clipping it. Don't worry, that's why we're playing live on stream. So that if I die, there's video evidence. But it's not gonna happen. We're gonna stay alive. We're gonna stay alive. But enjoy your nap, pencils. I hope you feel refreshed and recovered from your trip after that. Put some slabs in here and there. Down here a little bit. Maybe a little bit more mossy cobble. Just mixing in with the stone in a few spots. Okay, that breaks that up. I like that. All right, in here, I want more tough. More tough in this spot. Like it's kind of shadowy a little bit. Oh no. Oh no. Please go away. Go. Nope. You don't belong there. We're gonna have to reset the water. That got all messed up. Block, block. Block, block. Delete, 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 delete. Is that fixed? Alright, I think that repaired it. And over here, I actually think that should be probably like a stair going the other way. Oh no. Get back up on the block. Thank you. Armadillos. They eat spider eyes. I think they attack spiders. And if you wait around them or use a copper brush on them, they drop little armadillo scoots that you can craft armor for your dogs out of. So that's what armadillos do. And Zeroed, who is one of the other creators on this server here, has a beautiful armadillo emo. I love it. It's so cute. All right, this, maybe we do like an upside down stair. Like that got kind of eroded away. Though that gap looks silly. All right, I think that instead of that, scratch that. This is gonna just be the mossy cobble. That should be a mossy stair. And this can also be cobble. And I'll put a little more tuff in over here. Spooky cave sounds. We are ignoring them. What spooky cave sounds? There's no spooky cave sounds. No. Put that there. We'll get rid of that one. Those can be mossy. Oh, I love the sound of walking on moss. Oh, it's so nice through the headphones. This is the entire stream now. Just moss sounds. Don't mind me. I'm enjoying things, clearly. Alright, that block's gotta go. What do we want to do here? Let's put... So that's mossy, that's some regular cobble into that. Maybe mossy. Do I have a mossy stair? I've used all the mossy stairs. Okay, we need more. Let's make more blocks. We're making progress. It's slow progress, but it's progress. Do I have another stack of cobble in here anywhere? Have I used all my cobble? I think I just turned it all into mossy cobble. Oops. Oops. But hey, we got slabs. That's fine. No stairs, no full blocks, just slabs. How do you make it brighter? Is it nighttime in your game? Wait, why am I down here? I need to go into the house to get cobble. Fly! 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 There we go. Oh, I had more tuff in here. Oops. I feel like I kind of want a little bit of gravel, too. Maybe we can mix that in some spots. Look at that. Well, you need some lighting sources. Your most basic one's going to be torches with either coal or charcoal. I feel like you know that, though. If you've been playing it before, I think you know what torches are. Okay, what was I making? I was going to make a few stairs. Is that all the cobble I brought? Oh, no, it's all in there. There we go. We can put that away. Now I think I picked everything up. It's too dark. Well, do you got any wood? Because you can cook down the logs. Make charcoal. Or you might just have to do the early Minecraft special of hiding in a hole until it's daylight. That happens. We've all been there. We've all had to bury ourselves and just wait for the day to come. Oh, I was placing this up here. What was I placing here? I was gonna make a mossy cobble stair and then I didn't. What I wouldn't give for mobile... For like mobile crafting tables. Alright, I feel like I can put something away in here. We've got a few extra cobble. Let's do that. Alright, so this has to go over here. Like that. And I think I'm gonna do one this way. Okay. All right, we got to focus on this spot now. It looks like a lot of this is pretty covered, except on that side. I should build things up on this side too. We can do a little mossy cobble stair. Ooh, let's do another stair like that. All right, and then this. I'm going to build up a bit of tuff. Blend into that. Tough slab. Oh, it's dark. We're sleeping. Every time I start to glide away to put the bed down, somebody sleeps. I should just be patient. People are pretty good about sleeping on this. Alright, this dirt needs to be replaced. Should we do a little more mossy here? Maybe like that. And make this mossy. And this dirt can go to be mossy too. Where's the mossy stairs? And I'll make a little bit of this more tough. And then we'll add some more, what's it called? Oh my god, more moss. Little more moss into things here along the edges. Make this tough, that tough. slabs. Do I have any tough stairs? I do. Mix a little bit of this in. And I think I want to go back to the lighter stones over here. Andesite. There we go. There's the andesite. That's not andesite. Did I not make more slabs of this? We're going full blocks. And maybe a bit of cobble. Just to mix things up. Dark and raining. That's a spooky vibe you got there. Same, Jules. Both literally and figuratively. I don't really want this granite here. Oops, that's not the right block. Give me the tough blocks. We're not picking it up. Let's grab a bundle. We'll put... What do we want to put in here? Nothing. I don't want to put any of this in there. Go away. And this should be andesite. Alright, I want to work on the upper parts of the mountain now. Oh, well, this also needs to be turned into some stones. More tough? More tough. Maybe this can be regular stone, since it's already mostly regular stone. And we've got some slabs. And a little andesite through here. Gonna start cleaning my home, listen to some music. All right, Mario, good luck with all your chores. I hope the rest of your day is wonderful. And that you have a lovely start to your week. Thanks for stopping by. All right, andesite. Andesite's what I was gonna put through here. So that's the full block. Let's go put some stuff away. I'm not really gonna be using the mossy up here, I don't think. So let's put the mossy in one of these here. Mossy, mossy, mossy. I do want to put some regular moss blocks through parts of the side of it. Did I just see andesite stairs in one of these? Oh, those are stone stairs. Those can be like that. All right, we're gonna put andesite. I don't have much andesite left. We gotta go get more. Yeah, we gotta go get more. All right, I'll put the tough in there. And the cobble. Let's go get a couple stacks of andesite. Oh, very nice. Good job. Getting lots of goodies from those mobs. Watch out for the tridents, though. Especially on hardcore. Oh, wow. It's already 1 o'clock. I said today was going to be a shorter stream, and we've actually... We started later, but we're still going. I guess I got my momentum back. But we are going to have to wrap up relatively soon. It was the group fishing session. Honestly, that totally gave me life zeroed. Like, genuinely, it brought me a lot of joy. Hard not to feel refreshed after a nice fishing trip, you know? I see why people do it. I used to really like fishing. I used to go with my dad. And with my stepdad. And my brother-in-law. We used to go fishing. I haven't been since I was relatively young, though. My partner and I talk about it every once in a while, about, like, getting ourselves set up with a little fishing license just to get us outside more. And then we don't do it. My mom also had to put the worm on the hook for me. Even to this day. Yeah, I don't think I've ever put the worm on the hook. That would be somebody else's job. As would be removing the fish from the hook. That would also be someone else's job. If I stick a lightning rod at world height, does it protect the build? Oh, I don't know. I should really, set up a good... I think so. I have lightning rods on the ground that apparently will not actually do anything. So if that works, we could go place one at world height. We should do that. A skeleton in full goat. Oh no, watch out. Watch out. Be careful. Hopefully somebody will fill us in if they find out the answer to that. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just place one singular lightning rod and protect the entire world? Alright, how much do we got? We got like 4 stacks. Let's just get a little tiny bit more. Just so we're not running out. I imagine I won't need that much more for this mountain. We're doing pretty good on the terraforming of it now. I can't wait to come through with some bone meal and some flowers and just add a little something something to things once it's all in place. Oh, and we gotta go get the ice. We gotta go get ice. Highest block, 64 block radius is protected on Bedrock. Ooh. Zero doing the research. Eight leather, 0 string. Gotta kill some. Gotta kill some. Oh god, it's dark. Oh god, it's dark. Near a build, I'll actually do worse than nothing. Great. How do I have mine set up? Let's go take a look at where I've put my lightning rods before we have another roof fire incident. Jules, I love that. Alright, so I'd put one somewhere over here. So this isn't near anything that's flammable to my knowledge. that one's also got a little bit of distance. We're just gonna starve, apparently. Let's see. Oh, Grumpy's off. And there's one over here. Oh no. Oh no. Hold on. We've got our boots. For this very reason. Wiki is kind of unclear on how close. It just says can start fires nearby and inflicts lightning damage on mobs with a I wasn't done reading. 6 by 12 by 6 box centered 4 blocks above the bottom center of the... Oh god, my brain. Numbers! 6 by 12 by 6. Are you okay? If we get struck by lightning right there, will you survive, horse? I hope so. So many numbers, though. Alright. Alright, we need to bring... Let's go get... Can I, Zero, can I just go grab the ice from the, from the salmon? Is that okay? You died to a skeleton? No! Try again. Hardcore is brutal. It's not for the faint of heart. Only if you stop by the inside of the church. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go see what Zero's up to. Besides towering to the top of the world. I assume that's Zeroed. Did you put your lightning rod up there? Look at this. Look at this. And there's the... I'm gonna have to do the same. Knock knock. Ooh. Woohoo. Is this for baptizing? Or that's for fishing? I forgot to shut the door. Look, we can fit. Oh, I left my fishing rod. I left my fishing rod at home. Do you have an ender chest? You do. Excuse me. There's my fishing rod. We can fish. Oh, that's yours. I don't know if this pond's big enough for the both of us. You got my fish. Dog's all good. You went to the store. Very good. Getting stuff done, Keldon. The zombies that I'm hearing in the walls is kind of creeping me out a bit. And apparently all the fish are getting stuck there. You have a little zombie infestation somewhere. They're stuck in some powdered snow. Well, this is looking great. The dark oak was definitely the way to go. With the pillars. That adds a little bit of separation. This looks... Oh my god. Matt. That was so loud. You're thinking of putting the tank for big salmon up there. Yes! Yes! I love that idea. Especially because he'll be safer than in my pond, apparently. That's a great place for like a fish tank. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Alright. But this is coming along really nice, Jared. Glad you can walk into the thing now. How gorgeous is this, though? Beautiful. So beautiful. I love it here. I like the detailing. The trapdoors really add a lot to the windows. Nice big windows. Alright. Is there a path to the salmon, or do I have to fly? Whee! Snack. You grabbed the ice? Thank you! Ha. Thank you. You rock. I appreciate it.
Hey, listen.
If you want Thad's attention, there's a sound alert for that now. There is! You just gotta do that. But thank you, Zeroed. Everything looks great. Hope it's good. Yes, that'll be plenty. I just wanted a few little blocks. Appreciate it. Alright, so my way back home is that way. But how cool is that? Oh, I'm so excited for the big salmon to have a home. There was a bit of tragedy earlier where the salmon found its way out of the pond. Whee! Alright, but I think a little bit more ice along the edges up here will kind of make it look like things are getting frozen on the way down. So, I'll go with the packed ice. Maybe a little bit on the edges. Where's my silk touch? We got silk touch right there. Oops, too many. Okay, like that. And maybe like this is frozen. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze, I think. Sorry, pardon me. Pardon me. We got a cute drop game going, folks. Thank you, Keldon, for redeeming the cute drop game. Jules already got it going, so get your drops in. Exclamation point drop and an emote. We haven't really done this today. It's because Keldon's been running errands. So let's set a timer. Set timer 3 minutes. Thank you. So we're getting our drops in. We'll give that a few minutes while I add some ice to this here. Oops, we fell. Just needed a tiny bit of it in various spots. Oh, do these have feather falling? They do. That's good, but I can put my regular ones back. Alright, well, I'm gonna put a little more ice around the edges here. Like this is very frozen. Ooh, and what if we do a little bit like this? You're not gonna see it up here, but that's okay. Whee! All right, a little bit down here, like this. Here, mobs. A giant cave. Be careful. Be careful. Alright, I think a bit of ice in here would look good. Maybe if that one's... oh, messed up. Like that one. And maybe like that. And there's scary sounds. Let's go sleep. Get your drops in. All you gotta do is exclamation point drop along with an emote. And we'll all drop together in just a few minutes. Drop. Whee. All right, I want a little more ice over here, I think, along maybe the front. Can we very quickly replace this with ice? Nope. All right, do I have my shovel? We can get some. Oh, there goes the alarm. That means it's last call for the drop, folks. Last call for the drop. Get your drops in. We'll all drop together in a second. Dang it. Nope. Try to be sneaky. It didn't work. Alright, a little icy over there. Maybe a little bit right here. Like this. We ended up with more ice than I was expecting to need, so might as well just stick it in a few extra spots, right? Oh, it's raining, aka snowing. It actually works nicely. We can cover up some more stuff with some layers of snow. Not mad about that. So drop, all you do is type exclamation point drop into chat. And then you put in an emote that you'd like to drop, which I've already done mine, but just like this. And then I'll start the game and all our emotes will descend from the skies together. And we hope that they land inside the... Oh, God. You got me on that one. You got me on that one. Goodness. Goodness, Matt.
Okie dokie.
Okay, we're starting the drop. Last call. Exclamation drop in an emote. Here we go. We're dropping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We're dropping. Look at those emotes. We're bouncing each other around. Jules is bumping Matt. Oh, heading straight for the pile. Zeri with the chaos bits at the last second. That could mix things up. Oh my god, did you see? Oh my gosh. Matt went flying. Is he still gonna land? Matt landed. Matt still landed. Oh, a little late on those chaos bits, Jules. But thank you for the chaos bits. It looks like Matt is the one and only person who landed. Clappies for Matt. Don't forget the victory sound. Hold on. Where is it? I can do it. Animal Crossing. Where's the victory one? Oh. Matt beat me to it. Very good. I was trying to do it for you, Matt, so you didn't have to do it yourself. Yeah, very good aim for the corner there, there, Keldon. You're on a delay. Yeah. I appreciate the attempt at additional chaos. But yeah, there we go. That's what drop is. Now, we can reset drop. We can reset the drop and do it individually. The double glasses are a nice touch. Joe's emote has never been cooler. But alas, I'm going to reset the drop now so we can go back to our regular drops. 3, 2, 1. There we go. So you can keep on dropping if you'd like to. I'm going to drop Mulder. It resets every like 10 minutes or so. Oh, right into the corner. That's not happening. Joe with Will's emote. Bumping Matt back and forth. Oh, you're together now. Oh, goodness. Oh, you might both land now. That may be a really good one. That might be a really good one. Yes, Joe! Joe and Matt landed. Clappies. Where's the clappies? Clappies. Very nice. So yeah, that'll reset itself every like 10 minutes or so. Hello, goat. Please don't push me off. Thank you. I need some of this andesite. We picked up an egg along the way. Exclamation point egg. Do, 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 do. Yeah, lots of drop-ins happening there. Alright. Oh, not the andesite. I wanted more diorite for over here. We're gonna put the andesite down here. So let's just put a bunch of this in. And I got the stairs and the slabs. So we're gonna do like that. And then a stair here. This can be andesite. Yes, okay. That like that. This like that. Alright, and then when the water hits the bottom here, it should have a little bit of texture to it since those are different level blocks. Oh, wait, no, they're not. Yes, they are. Just kidding. Just kidding. And we'll do down a little bit like that. This can be just like a little area that somehow has dirt on it, I guess. And flowers. I like this little blue flower here. So we'll leave that like that. And like that. Yeah, we can put... Okay. See ya. Oh, he's gone. Am I the only one left? Is it just me? It's just me now. I think we're alone now. Do Steve. I choose Steve. But if you just dropped, you're not going to be able to do it again for a little while. I don't know if you just did it again. The leaf pile will move on the screen and all the emotes will disappear every like 10 minutes. Alright, this one can go. That one can go. I'll put a little bit of regular stone in here now. And this one can be a stair. This one could also be a stair, sure. And a little bit of regular stone mixed in again. $130, okay. Think we should do more of the diorite throughout there. So let's put away a little bit of the andesite. Let's grab some more of the diorite. We've got some stairs, some slabs. Put all that. Swap that. There we go. We'll mix some of this in over here where the dirt is. Kind of like this little bit of... Oh, crap. Wrong block. Little bits of dirt that have flowers on them, but also they're kind of getting in my way. So we'll leave some on the side over there, but this is going to be just diorite. that to be... Oh, it's dark. It's very dark. Whee! Bed. Thank you, guys. Okay, right in here, we're gonna grab the shovel. Alright, so this one I want to be a stair. And this one can be a stair like that. Okay. Put a few slabs in here. Slab there. This should be a full block. And then I think this should turn into a little bit more regular stone again. Just mixed into the mountainside. And we've got the stairs and the slabs to work with. All right, so that's holding that into place. Oh, my goodness. Oh, we're doing another cute drop, folks. Another cute drop coming right up. Thank you, Cracked Kitten, for picking that up. Or picking that out. Whatever the words are. Jules has it queued. Everybody do exclamation point drop. This will probably be the last one of the day. Set timer 5 minutes. Thank you. So in 5 minutes, we'll all drop together. Everybody get your emotes. Exclamation point drop. I'm gonna do microwave coffee because that's what I'm gonna do after this stream is over. I'm gonna microwave some coffee. All right, I like that. I like the stones mixed in. This cannot be here. That's gotta go. Let's do just regular stone there. I'm not picking it up. It's not going in my inventory. Need to clear a few things out real quick. Put that away. Let's put away half the dirt. Okay. And can these stack together now? I'll put that away and keep this here instead. All right. Now I should be able to pick up these blocks. And we're gonna try... Oh, it's in the headphones. It's part of the song, I guess. I'm like, what is that noise? So let's, I guess, free the water. Let's do this one. 1, 2. See how this looks from down here. How's that? All right, that's got some nice texture to it. This block has to go. Can I just make this regular stone? And that one. Yeah, okay. Don't think you can see those. Perfect. And now we gotta do the one up there. Oh my god. Enderman out of nowhere. Alright, so we're gonna turn... Get rid of that. And this should have a little texture in the middle. How does this look? Like a big waterfall. Thinking maybe we should even do a little bit more like texture-wise. This I want to come down actually. Oh, Want me to dismiss the ads? Yes, please. Thank you. Yeah, feel free. Feel free to do that. So that we can drop and not have to worry about it. Thank you for asking. Okay, I'm gonna bring this down a little bit too. Maybe do like that. Okay. Let's try this again. Break those. How's that look? I think that's pretty good. I want to build this up just a little bit more. Here. So that's kind of holding in the water on that side. And honestly, this should probably be out a little more too. Do I have any more? Nope. Like that. All right, let's give it a little flyby. Ooh. It's a waterfall. It's a waterfall. All right, that's coming along. I'll do a little more detailing to it and stuff still. I want to put some flowers and put some more bushes and stuff along the pond. And I want to do some stuff with this hill. This hill is just kind of ugly where the house is. So I'll probably do some stuff over there too. But for now, I think that's gonna do it for this moment in time. Let's see if we can stick all these materials in somewhere. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Oh, goodness. This is going to go down by the pond. We'll hold on to the ice and the snow together for now. Oh, there's our alarm for our drop game. One moment. Just trying to finish up here. Okay, we got a couple buckets of water. We got our fishing rod. Silk Touch Fortune. That goes there, that goes there, that can go there. Okay, we're in business. Let's just go down to the pond and see how this looks from right here. I like it. I like it. Sun's starting to set. All right, let's stick ourselves in a building for safety. Yeah, you can call me Kath. People call me Kath, Kathadora, or Thad usually. Log out. And we're going to be wrapping up for the day. So let's switch over to our stream ending screen. We're going to do one last drop, and then we'll figure out where we're going to raid. Very nice. Getting geared up. Good way to do it, honestly, especially early game. So, at last call for the dropped. I put one in, right? Yes, I dropped the microwave. What was that? Oh, that's my Zoom app telling me that Minecraft's not running anymore. There we go. Okay, folks. Here we go. We are going to be dropping. So last call. Get your drops in. Exclamation drop and an emote. And we are going to drop in. We'll do a 10-second countdown this time. All right. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Here we go. We're dropping in. Whee! All right, we got Crack Kitten, Matt, and me in one corner, Joe, Jules, and Keldon in the other, bouncing each other around a little bit. Oh no, the ad's about to start. We're going to snooze that again. Oh my gosh, this could be a good one. This could be a good one. Oh no, I'm going to miss. I don't think I landed. Did I land? Who landed? Let's see. Let's see. Joe landed, Keldon landed, and Matt landed. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. We got 3 out of 6 landing. That's a good ratio. Everybody clappies. Clappies for our winners. All right.
All right!
Those go together pretty nicely, huh? All right. All right, folks. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. We actually got quite a bit done. I had a lovely time fishing with Zeroed. And then we actually got some terraforming done. All in all, a successful day, I think. Much more productive than yesterday, where we literally fished like 80% of the time. But, you know, it happens. All right, let's see. I know there's nobody live on the server right now. But is there anyone streaming? Okay, we've got some truly Bedrock going on. Got a little bit of Minecraft on that side. And let's take a look if there's anything else outside that
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Thank you for that, Keldon. Honestly, I don't think I'd heard that one today. Good luck. Good luck in your hardcore endeavors. I hope the best for you. Alright, do we want... You got 2 choices. Do we want...
I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit of la 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 la.
A little bit Alexis. Do we want... I'm gonna get the sentence out. Do we want more Minecraft or music? Minecraft or music? Where do we want to go? Because the people I was thinking of raiding, I've raided quite a few times. Or we could head to a music stream. Music? What's one vote for music? Anybody else want their input? We got 1 vote for Minecraft. Does anyone want to break that tie? Minecraft or music? Where are we going? Where are we going? Make your choice. Need one more choice. Please make the decision for me. I don't want to make a choice. I don't want to make the decision.
Ew, no, David.
Come on. Next thing I see in chat. Matt did redeem a Minecraft sound. Is that a vote for Minecraft? Hmm? The world. Is that a vote for music? John Ralphio's beautiful voice. Okay. All right. I'm going to pick a number. Somebody type a number in chat. Any number. Any number. Oh, we got a new follower. First number I saw is Keldon's, number 5. And Matt's is also a lovely number. We're going to music, guys, because odd was music in my mind and even was Minecraft. So we're going to go see Danielle. Welcome in, Dove. I know we're on a Minecraft stream, but I'm gonna send you over to one of my favorite music streamers. What happens over there is what I call happy chaos. The good chaos, calm chaos. There we go. We got our raid active. We're gonna go show some love to the lovely Danielle Allard. Danny and her community are just, that's not the right thing.
You're my family and I love you, but you're terrible. You're all terrible.
I don't say that.
Well, that's all you say.
You kind of do.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. No, but really, you're all fantastic, and I love you, and I appreciate you. I appreciate the chaos. I appreciate you all just lurking and hanging out with me while I'm doing my silly little Minecraft builds. Thank you. Genuinely. Thank you for being here. And I just appreciate your company. Before we go, let's all take a big old sip of water. Big old sip of water, okay? Everybody, hydration's very important. Get your water right now. Right now. No delaying. Very refreshing. There we go. I should be... There we go. I should be live again tomorrow, about 9 a.m. Eastern-ish, around there. We'll be back on the Bedrock Legends server. We're on our last week of the server, so we got to spend as much time as we can. So yeah, hope to see you then. If you're listening and you're not already following, please drop a follow. I'd really appreciate it. You'll get the notifications when I go live again. And we'll be back tomorrow for more Minecraft. Be kind. Take care of yourselves. I'll see ya. Bye!